The power of the dark side.
Greetings, Earthlings! Welcome to your latest edition of The Martian Invasion. I am the Martian here, author of Red Planet Guardian, upcoming soon-to-be Indigo campaign, and this is a review of the Ewok Adventure. Actually called by a few different names, called Ewok Adventure or Caravan of Courage, and then later followed up by a second movie, Battle for Endor. These originally first came out in November of '84, and then followed by, this was Christmas of '85 was Battle for Endor, it says here. This goes over 9 facts that you may or may not know about the ever-loved movie, and I actually sat through this last night just for this review so you could see this. So in 2014, this was 30 years old, so even older now. So how bad was it? Just an initial review. It was pretty bad. I remember watching this when I was a kid, and even then thinking that this was not great. But at the time, especially 84, 85, this was around the time of Jedi, and we assumed that this was it. We weren't going to ever see anything Star Wars again. Lucas had pretty much said at that point that it was 3 movies and done, 3 and done, and that's all he planned for. Of course, later when he did the prequels, he claimed that he had always planned for 6. Earlier saying that he had always planned for 3, which of course is, that's typical Lucas BS. So, but at the time, like I said, we were Star Wars fans. We were hungry for anything, and we gobbled this up. So, it says originally here, this was going to be titled the Ewok Holiday Special. Obviously, that was awkward because of the 78 debacle in the Hollywood Star Wars special, which was, that was not good. Not good at all. I actually watched that live when it appeared in 78. And again, as a small child, I was excited to see anything. But even then, the middle comic book thing with the cartoons perplexed me as a small child. But I liked Boba Fett, so I was good with it. So, anyways, the Ewok Adventure. What else does it say here? It says this was done in Marin County, near Skywalker Ranch. The 4-year-old Aubrey Miller, who played Sindel Tawani, local actress from. So I don't even know how to pronounce that. Anyways, Ewok Adventure was her first movie, first and only, as we shall see. Narrator of the Ewok Adventure happened to be Burl Ives, who played Sam the Snowman in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Also famous singer from way back when, and entertainer. Let's see, talking about some stuff they had to do for the Ewok eyelids at ILM. Ewok actors wore baby blue pajamas under their costumes. That's rather embarrassing for them. The crashed Tawani Star Cruiser was, wings incorporated from the full-size snow speeders. Various food items they got from San Francisco Chinatown. And lastly, Joe Johnston, who was famously the chief concept designer and the original Star Wars trilogy, also production designer on Ewok Adventures. He not only created the overall look of the Ewoks with George Lucas, also penned a children's book of the Woodland Furballs. So the other thing, this was the big complaint or the big criticism I had of this, was that they do these things and they kind of write themselves into a corner because you have a movie that is comprised almost completely of Ewoks, and it's hard for the public watching it, especially if they're children, to relate to them if they can't speak English. So they kind of, it seemed like they kind of dubbed in this weird kind of proto-English that these Ewoks spoke, and it didn't even seem to match the lips. I don't know if they planned that all along or if they just stuck it in later in editing because things were not working. But it was weird. It seemed like the Ewoks, the Ewok that was speaking English. It seemed like he spoke every time he turned around, so you couldn't, it wasn't when he was on camera. But it was just weird because in Jedi, obviously they didn't speak any English at all. They spoke their own language, whatever Ewok is. But that was a big criticism. The other one, the special effects were pretty bad. There was a lot of weird, jerky stop motion in it. It wasn't good. The special effects, other than that, there really were not a whole lot of blasters, no lightsabers, no use of the Force at all. The characters were pretty one-sided. It was definitely a children's movie. Apparently it did make it to the theaters, though. I can't imagine it did well. And this is you can still buy it. They have it on Amazon. It's pretty expensive, but I found copies on eBay for maybe $20 for both movies. So you can still get it. The big question I had was, is this considered canon? I did a little bit of research here, and although on the back of the jacket cover it says Daily Variety pronounces that Ewoks Battle of Endor triumphs as a worthy entrant into the hallowed Star Wars canon, I don't believe that is true. I mean, that was printed at that time. That is not true anymore, especially after Disney took over, because it clearly says that it's just the films, the films, and Clone Wars is what they considered canon. Anything else out of that realm was not canon. So the Ewok adventures were regulated back to what they call legends. And so it is no longer around. But some strange conspiracy theories that were going around. This was before episode 7 came out. Some people were thinking that Gwendolyn Christie was going to play the little girl from this episode. Apparently just because they were both white, blonde, and cute. I guess that was the whole reason behind this. This was the initial one that I found here. But there was a couple others. Let me see what else. There's another one here. Is Captain Phasma secretly the little girl from Battle of Endor? And this goes into the various things here. Would it have been interesting to pull that in? Sure, but then of course that would have demanded that Disney recognize this as canon, and I don't think they wanted to do that. So it would have been a little harder. Plus, I don't know. I just don't think people wanted to do that. There was a little more here. This was on Reddit. This was a post. This one was asking if Rey is the daughter of this little girl. And, of course, I guess that remains to be seen. Maybe the daughter was one of the drunkards that gave her up after Roundhead Ryan Johnson ruined the last film. Let's see. There's a picture of her again with Gwendolyn Christie. Pictures of the little girl here. And this is her IMDb page. And that is all that's on there. The 2 Ewok movies and nothing else. The girl never worked again. Apparently she did some editorial work here and soundtrack for Battle of Endor. And that was it. Never seen again. Apparently, this is the last known picture of her after she was abducted by Ryan Johnson, and did who knows what to her. The poor girl. But that was it for her. She was done. 2 Star Wars movies, and she was out. So final review: Battle of Endor. Ewok Adventure, I would give it 2.5 stars. But I do consider it, if you are a true Star Wars fan, I do consider it among the things that you must watch. You must also watch the holiday special as well. That is required watching to be a true Star Wars fan. I don't believe you can call yourself one unless you watch these other movies. So, give it a try. I think you can find a copy of it, kind of weird copy on YouTube, but you can also, if you want to go ahead and buy one, as I did, you can buy one on eBay. It's about $20 or so. So anyways, that is our video for today. Stay tuned. There is more to come. Make sure to subscribe down there and like, share, and hit the bell for further notifications. This has been your Martian Invasion for today, folks. Later.